tough, adaptable, resilient. All words we use to describe military teens. And yes, they are, but they're also struggling a lot. I'm Bessa Pinchatti, Executive Director and CEO of the National Military Family Association, the leading nonprofit dedicated to serving the families who stand beside those who serve. For over 50 years, we've advocated for, supported, and strengthened millions of military families, including military teens, whose experience is often a mystery. We talk to tens of thousands of military families every year who tell us what's happening in their homes. They give us insights into their lives, struggles, and goals to set up their families for long-term success. This year, we stood up a department dedicated to better understanding the experiences of military families beyond the numbers. Of course, we wanted data, but we also wanted answers. Reaching adults is the easy part. Reaching military teens is a challenge. So we teamed up with an incredible group of teens at Bloom, Empowering the Military Teen, and together we fielded the first of its kind survey looking for open and honest feedback from military teens on their experience. What are they going through? How do they feel about it? What do we, the adults, partners, and policymakers in their community, need to do to better support them? Here to explain is our Director of Research and Insights, Dr. Crystal Lewis.
Thank you, Bessa. I'm Dr. Crystal Lewis, and I've had the great privilege of launching the National Military Family Association's Department of Research and Insights. Our research department heard from over 30,000 unique military families this year, and through data collection and analysis, we are able to provide insights in areas that are critical for active duty military families, including their well-being, their financial security, education, employment, and food security. Earlier in the spring of this year, I reached out to the teens at Bloom, Empowering the Military Teen, and discussed how together we could better understand the military teen experience. That's why in May of 2021, we created and launched the survey behind this report. As difficult as it can be to get in touch with our military teen community, we heard from over 2,000 military teens. We asked about their mental health and well-being, how often they move and go through deployments, and how all of these factors impact them and make them feel. We asked really tough questions about abuse and food insecurity, and then we also asked them about their willingness to serve in the future. In our data collection, we used validated instruments. These are scales that are proven to measure what they set out to measure. Using the Warwick-Edinburgh Mental Wellbeing Scale, we measured the psychological functioning and mental well-being of our military teen community ages 13 and up. Additionally, we relied on the USDA Food Security Survey for youth ages 12 and up. This is commonly referred to as the USD short form, and we used the scale to measure the food insecurity levels of our military teens. This was critical to ensure the integrity of our data so that we can trust and you can trust the insights revealed by our analyses. In just a moment, I'm going to invite Bloom's co-founders, Elena and Matthew, to join us and share our findings. But first, I wanted to share one big takeaway with you. The military teens of today are our future force of tomorrow. The Department of Defense has long studied American youth and their willingness to serve. A DoD poll conducted in 2019 indicated that only 13% of American youth ages 16 to 24 said they plan to serve in the next few years. Only 13%. The military teens we heard from told an entirely different story. When we asked them if they plan to serve, 65%, a stunning majority, said yes. So as you listen to Matthew and Elena, please keep in mind the story that they tell isn't just that of a military kid in a military family. We are listening to the fighting force of tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis, for that kind introduction. My name is Matthew O.
And my name is Elena Ashburn.
And we are the founders of Bloom, Empowering the Military Teen, an organization dedicated to empowering, highlighting, and connecting the children of service members.
Like Dr. Lewis said, military teens are the fighting force of tomorrow. But today, we're kids in the community that really need some more support. One of the things that we knew anecdotally, but our survey really put hard numbers to, is that the the mental well-being of military teens right now is very low. In our survey of over 2,000 military teens from all walks of life, 42% of them reported low mental well-being. An additional 45% reported moderate mental well-being, and the Warwick scale that we used to measure this information noted that both low and moderate mental well-being were points of concern. Only 13% of military teens that we surveyed reported high levels of mental well-being.
And that should come as no surprise. We all talk about the unique challenges of military life, but for us, it's just life as we know it. Military kids move a lot. I've moved 8 times, and we had teens who responded that they'd moved over 11 times. We're uprooted a lot. We move towns or bases or states or countries. We change schools. We have to make new friends. When I moved to South Korea, I not only had to adapt to a new community and school, but an entirely different culture. I had to build new friendships and opportunities while grieving over what I had lost.
And we've had to do all this while also having a parent deploy. The post-9/11 wars have meant that our families have experienced a lot of deployments, trainings, and time away from our service member. Some of our respondents reported that they had experienced over 15 deployments in their time as military children. That all adds up, and it contributes to this feeling of not really being connected. That feeling of not being connected is part of the reason why Matthew and I decided to start Bloom. After we had both really struggled moving away from a duty station we loved, we decided that we wanted a space where we and other military teens could share our experiences and talk to peers that have been through the same thing. We created an online platform by military teens and for military teens. And now, about a year and a half later, we've posted over 170 articles on our website, reached hundreds of military brats in our community, and had thousands of people view our artwork, read our writing, watch our videos, and of course, take our survey.
Through all of this, we've put numbers to the fact that the stress facing military teens is more than just the average stress of military life. And COVID-19 has certainly not helped. Moving, separation, and making friends has only become more difficult as we have been forced to adapt to a new way of life. Our survey has also confirmed an even more alarming trend. While most military families had enough to eat, more families struggled to put food on the table during the pandemic than ever before. When asked if within the past year they had worried about whether their food would run out before they had money to buy more, almost 36% of military teens expressed concern. About 28% told us that this was sometimes true, and an additional 8% said that this was often true. It's hard to feel okay when you're worried about having enough food to eat, and that's where organizations like NMFA come in. It's where policymakers come in. We need your help, and we need you to keep listening to us.
Don't get us wrong. We love military life. But we are struggling with this difficult lifestyle. We're not fully grown adults yet, but we're not little kids anymore either. We're cognizant of what's going on around us, and we're capable of expressing our emotions, our fears, and our needs. And we're also the fighting force of tomorrow. Over 65% of our respondents reported that they intend to follow in their parents' footsteps and join the U.S. military. In other words, how you treat our nation's future force, our military teens, is greatly going to shape the path our country takes in the future.
NMFA and Bloom are committed to making sure teen voices have a platform and that they're heard, but we need your help making sure that we have the resources and support we need.
Listening to our military teens and our military families is so important. I'm Eileen Huck, and I'm Senior Deputy Director of Government Relations at the National Military Family Association. As part of our advocacy team, it's my privilege to talk with military families about their most pressing health and well-being concerns and work on the policy solutions that can fix them. What we heard today from our military teens only reinforces what we at NMFA have known for years. It can be hard for military families to make ends meet. Most American families rely on 2 working parents to get by, but military spouses struggle with high unemployment rates due in large part to the challenges associated with military life. It's hard to maintain a career when the military moves you every 2 to 3 years. Plus, a lack of quality, affordable childcare forces many military spouses to leave the workforce. In fact, data consistently shows that up to 25% of military spouses are unemployed or underemployed, and the pandemic has only made things worse. There's a safety net to help most people who have a hard time putting food on the table. SNAP benefits, formerly known as food stamps, are designed to help families ensure they can get enough to eat. Unfortunately, military housing allowances are included when determining SNAP eligibility, meaning that most military families don't qualify. And ironically, it's the military families in the most expensive areas of the country who are hardest hit by this glitch in the law. We see military families forced to turn to food pantries to put dinner on the table. There's at least one food pantry on or near every major military installation. Research NMFA conducted this year revealed that 14% of military families visited a food pantry at least once in the past 12 months. 14% of the 11,000 military families we talked to have visited a food pantry in the last year. There's a lot that can and should be done to make it easier for military families to make ends meet. Addressing military spouse unemployment and improving access to child care would go a long way toward improving military families' financial well-being. But one simple thing that could help military families who are struggling with food insecurity is creating a basic needs allowance, a small, temporary pay boost for service members whose income and household size put them below 130% of federal poverty guidelines. The great news is that Congress has taken a huge step to address food insecurity among military families by including the Basic Needs Allowance in this year's National Defense Authorization Act. We're grateful to Representative Jimmy Panetta and Senator Tammy Duckworth for taking the lead on this issue in the House and Senate, respectively. And we are so close to making this allowance a reality. We're urging Congress to include the Basic Needs Allowance in the final version of the defense bill and to make sure that military housing allowance is excluded when calculating eligibility. They need to act to keep our military teens and families from going hungry. You can help by calling your congressman and asking them to support the Military Hunger Prevention Act. Addressing military family food insecurity will go a long way toward helping our military teens' well-being. It's hard to feel good when you're worried your parents can't put food on the table. But food insecurity isn't the only issue facing our military kids and teens. Military life comes with lots of challenges for kids. Frequent moves, multiple new schools, the stress that comes with separation from a deployed parent. It's essential that the Department of Defense ensure that our kids have access to the mental and behavioral health care they need in order to thrive. Too often, that's not the case. We're calling on the department to make the well-being of our military kids a priority. Military kids need our help. They've shared their stories with us. Now it's our turn to act on their behalf.
You are absolutely right, Eileen. We must act now. World Mental Health Day is this weekend, and we need to do more than raise awareness of the mental health challenges facing military teens in our communities. At NMFA, we know that military kids serve too. But when their mental health depends on connection, military teens are not set up for success. They've been moving with the military, changing schools every 2 to 3 years, dealing with deployments and separations, and the last 20 years of war, living that military life right alongside their service member parent. Together with Bloom, we commit to keep listening to military teens to better understand how the demands of military life impact their overall well-being, their sense of connection with each other and in their communities, and the ways we need to step up and support them. NMFA hosts Operation Purple programs to help military kids build meaningful connections with other kids who understand their special experience. We've been doing this for nearly 2 decades, and we are committed to finding new ways to specifically serve our teens, enabling them to build those connections that matter most. We will continue to advocate for policies that ease the burden on all military families, relieving some of the pressure that these teens feel so deeply. And we will elevate the voices of these young patriots who will serve and protect us all in the years ahead.